Thank you everyone for attending. This is our Q2 release, so our summer release. Obviously myself is here, got Sally, our trainer, who someone of you have seen before, and obviously Sam as well from a product side. So just a quick intro in terms of what we're going to be doing today. Taking you through some product demos, obviously showing you some of those new features, talk a little bit about some of our new integrations that we've got that have come into the framework. We've got one extra small feature as well, and then we're going to have a Q&A. Within the product demonstrations themselves, the main one we're going to show you is the new Ad Assistant. So we're actually going to have a Q&A after the Ad Assistant before we go into the other features. Really, because that's obviously the most in-depth one. So ideally, if we can ask any questions about that at that stage, and then we'll have a final Q&A right at the end of the session as well, covering the other features and any questions you've got around the integrations at that point as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand you over to Sally.
Hello. Okay, I've just seen a message saying people can't hear anything. Can people still hear me? Yes, no? I'm hoping yes. Marvelous. Okay, somebody can. Cool. Okay. Great. So I'm going to take you through some bits and pieces today. So as Chris said, Ad Assistant is kind of our big ticket item, if you like, at the moment. So I will start with that one. So the idea is that we have created the Ad Assistant to help you check your adverts before they go out, to see kind of if there's any gender bias in there, to see if there's any way of making it a bit more readable, readability, that's not a word, make them a bit more readable, check your sentence length, that kind of stuff. So yeah, going to kind of show you that through today. So it works best from a brand new job, rather than kind of going back in time and kind of adapting your existing jobs. But I do have one that I prepared earlier, so we'll for ease, we'll just go and edit that one. So we'll go through our job just as normal, kind of your normal job create process. One wants to play, there we go, we kind of add in all our details there. And we go through to the next page. So this Ad Assistant works with the single job description feature. So you do have to have that turned on. So if you don't already have that turned on, not a problem, we can get that sorted for you as well. But what we have now is, sorry, let me just get rid of my information that's already in there. We can start afresh. So we've got a bit of an information up here, so package description, so kind of what, why, how kind of thing, and just you've got your single job description page here. So we've got a few different fields down here. So we're looking at gender bias, reading ease, advert length, and long sentences. Now these are all backed up by external research.
I can't hear anyone.
Oh, nobody's hearing anybody. Do I need to start again? What's the general consensus? Can we hear?
It's working okay, Sally.
Yeah, I can hear.
I can hear. I think people need to click the start audio in the
I
bottom
cannot hear anyone.
corner.
I can hear okay. Okay, so yeah, I think there's a start audio button in Zoom if you can't hear me. Maybe put that in the chat if you can't hear me. Cool. So yes, so we've got the single description field here, and we've got the 4 fields here. So as I said, they're all backed up by external research. We're not the experts in this, so we've kind of based our functionality on what people say we should do. So we've got a gender bias checker, which is, we've got a gender decoder that we go through. Reading ease and long sentences, they're run through Fleisch score, I might not be saying it right, but it's again an external kind of expert that helps us with that information. And then the advert length is backed up by LinkedIn research. If you hover over any of these question marks, it kind of indicates kind of what it is that you're looking for, and what would be a good score. And each one of these have got a sliding scale. So what you can do is you can use one of your existing job descriptions. So we'll just take one from the TribePad website. There we go. we can paste that one in there. Okay, and then we've got a little button here. So if we check for bias here, it kind of whizzes through the whole advert and does kind of some various checks on that. And as you can see, we've got, so we'll look at the gender bias first. So it's showing us that we've got one masculine word that has been located and 7 kind of feminine words that are shown in there. Now, according to research, the masculine words are seen as bad in the job advert world. Feminine words kind of seen as fairly neutral. They're not kind of, they don't have a massive impact on them. But yeah, these phrases and words and things are highlighted. So the feminine ones are highlighted in blue, like support. We've got a masculine one here that's highlighted in red. Now, at this stage, we're not providing suggestions for those words. We're just kind of highlighting them to say, you might want to rethink about this word. Later on down the line, when we kind of look at phase 2, we will have hopefully mapped a load of words that you guys have been using and been replacing them with, and we can kind of look at introducing suggestions for you at that point. But at this stage, when we trialed it, the suggestions that were coming up weren't really making much sense in the job description scheme of things. So we've taken that bit out, we're working on it, it will be back and better than ever later down the line. So yeah, so you get your kind of suggestions. It's totally up to you. You can leave them in if it kind of reads fine for you and you're happy with the ones that have been indicated, or you can take them out and change them and do whatever. So that's your gender bias. Reading ease. So we're looking, so according to this, we're looking for a score of over 60. So this reading ease is showing us a score of 38.1. So we're kind of getting a red indication here. It's a traffic light coded scale, so red, amber, green. Obviously we're looking for green, so over 60 kind of be further up here. But it's just kind of an indication of how well that job description actually reads to the average Joe, if you like. Long sentences, very similar, kind of looks at the whole thing, looks how many sentences you've got in your advert, and it's a percentage. So again, if you hover over here, so less than 10% of long sentences is, less than 10% of the sentences are deemed as long. So over 30 syllables is classed as a long sentence. But again, you kind of got that indication. Your long sentences are highlighted in the lighter blue, so you can kind of see there which ones you might need to think about or look at again. And then you've got your advert length. So your advert, according to LinkedIn, the optimal advert length is 601 words. So again, you've got a sliding scale, I think it's less than, does it show us here? Oh yeah, 600. I think it's something like less than 300 words is deemed as red. 301 to 600 is deemed as amber, and 601 to 700, something like that, is deemed as green. And then obviously we kind of get amber and red on the other side of things as well. So yeah, so you've got your field, you've got kind of any further guidance on here. So we've got a link here that gives you our different sources. Oh, there you go. A little bit more on the scaling and the scoring of things. And we've got our sources down here as well. So you can kind of see where we're getting the information from, what's being checked and all that kind of stuff. So you've got your bias check on, the ad assistant, should I say, on the internal option. And if we scroll slightly down, we've got the external option as well. And again, you've got that button just to put in. And if you make any changes, you can just kind of select that button again. It'll rescan the content and kind of suggest any changes on there. And that's about it. As I say, it works with the single job description. So if you've still got the 6-parter job description, it's not going to work on that one. So we'd need to kind of switch you over. And it works best from kind of going forwards, not from looking at your active jobs and things at the moment. Sam, have I missed anything?
No, that seems to have covered everything.
Cool. I'll throw the floor open then. Anybody got any questions on the ad assistant?
I've got one question. You may have covered this, I'm sorry if I've missed it. When you paste your job description on the internal, is there a button then that can extrapolate that into the external as well? Or do we have to manually copy and paste individually to each section?
You manually copy and paste.
Right, thank you.
That's okay.
So just if you're not familiar with the internal, external, that's only if you want different information. So the rule of thumb is paste it externally, and then if an internal candidate applies, they will see that. The internal only shows if you want something different.
Okay.
That makes sense. Like different tone of voice or something like that.
Any more for any more? Feel free to put them in the chat if you don't want to talk to me.
We can pick them up at the end anyway if if anyone thinks of anything while Sally's going through the other bits.
Cool. Okay. So that's your ad assistant. As I say, it looks very sort of straightforward. We're really proud of this one. Hopefully you like it as well, and it will kind of help you make your job descriptions really kind of dynamic and unbiased and inclusive for you. Cool. Okay. Next thing then, we're looking all about onboarding. So we've got 3 features that are added to our onboarding section. So let's have a little look. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is allowing you to do internal and external workflows for different candidates. So this works at a workflow level, and you can do this on an existing package, or you can do it on a brand new package as well. Either or, doesn't really matter. So we've got a package here, and we'll go down to our workflows, and we'll just create a brand new one for the time being. And we'll look at, I'll just create something. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. So you've got your name and your title in there. Obviously, it'll make a lot more sense when you're actually putting in the relevant information. And your workflow, hopefully this is fairly familiar to you. You can kind of choose your application stage, whether it's going to be triggered automatically at a specific stage, or whether you're going to trigger your workflow manually. None of that has changed. What has changed though is this little bit down here. So when you're creating a brand new workflow, it will automatically default to both. So both your internal and your external candidates are going to be contacted. However, if you're doing something like bank details, maybe you don't necessarily need your internal candidates to provide that because they've already provided them. They're on your payroll scheme, all that kind of stuff. So you might just want to kind of put something as an external option, and that's it. So you save your details, and then you choose your workflow items just as normal. So the whole onboarding package hasn't massively changed. It's just that ability to trigger internal and external workflows. Something that do want to call out though is that when you've created those workflows, it doesn't necessarily change them. Obviously, I've called this internal test, but if you're calling it bank details, for example, it doesn't indicate whether it's an internal or an external workflow. So you might want to just kind of put in there internal, external, that kind of thing. It's something that we might kind of change in the future and give you an indication, but just for the time being, pop in internal and external just in the name, and then you can kind of identify what's going where and all that kind of thing. This has been turned on automatically for everybody, so there's no need to kind of reach out if it's something that you're wanting. It's just there for you already, so you can kind of go ahead and use that. If you're using an existing workflow, you can go in and edit that. And obviously I've changed this one slightly, but existing workflows will be automatically shown as both. So if you want to change it, you can just go in and amend that one there. And that's it. Fairly self-explanatory, fairly straightforward, but that is your internal, external one. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is the PDF builder that we've put into onboarding. So you can, at the moment, you can extract information from the system if you're maybe transferring over to an HR system, for example. But at the moment, it's all or nothing. So if you're downloading something at a candidate level, it would be every single workflow that they've created or completed, should I say. But what you can do now is you can specify exactly which workflows you want to download. So it might be you just want reference details and next of kin or something like that, whatever it is, and you can pick and choose those options. So what you can do is, again, it's at workflow level, and we've got this download settings button here. And again, this has been turned on for everybody. So again, you don't need to kind of ask us for this. It's already there for you. So we go to our download settings, and we're going to create what we're calling a download policy, if you like. Okay, so we'll, let's say we'll call it, I don't know, HR files or something like that, whatever it is. And we can include document contents or file contents. So the document contents would be something like maybe reference information or whatever. File contents might be right to work documents, for example, maybe something that the candidate has uploaded to the system. So you can pick either or both, totally up to you. Maybe just do both, just so you've covered everything if you're not entirely sure the type of the workflow item. And then you can pick and choose. So you've got your overall workflow here, and then you've got your workflow item. So we can just pick the next of kin. We can pick the reference request. So I'm going to choose that new reference, and that's it. We're just going to include those bits. We're not bothered about the other workflows being in our download policy. So we're going to save that. So that download policy is there, and it's been added to that package. So if we go to our onboarded users, again, here's one I created earlier. We've got an option here, and the download policy here would be, as I said before, all or nothing. So it's every workflow item is downloaded. But we can now see that we've got HR files up here. So that is what I've just created. Those are those specific workflow items that we wanted to include. So if we click that one, you get an instant download for that candidate. And then you can kind of do whatever you need to do with that information. So yeah, again, nice and straightforward, nice and easy. It lets you choose exactly what you want for those downloads. So yeah, so that's our two little itty bitty onboarded things. Our other big thing that we were kind of shouting about is the ability to have integrations with onboarding now. So previously you could only have integrations at a job level or at a candidate level. So if it's a job level, everybody applying for that role has to do this integration or whatever it is. Now, or the candidate level, they can do it if they've applied for multiple roles. They only have to complete the integration once. Now we can do it at an onboarding level, so you can trigger those integrations whenever you want, if it's obviously relevant at an onboarded level. So within the tools menu, or it might be in the jobs menu if you've not got our tools menu, we've got an integrations option down here. So ours will look a little bit different to you. Obviously, this is our demo platform. We've got all sorts of bits and pieces in there, but you would have your integration down here on the left-hand side. So you pick the relevant one. And we've got, there we go. So we've got job level, candidate level, or at onboarding level. And what we're doing is we're creating an instance. So an instance is a set of rules around how that integration is going to appear on a candidate's profile. So are you going to get a green icon? Are you getting a red icon? Are you getting text in an icon? Whatever it is. And when does that icon appear throughout the process? All that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go through this bit at this stage. We've got loads of documentation about kind of setting up instances and integrations and things like that. But yeah, you would create an onboarding integration, if you like. And if we go back into our packages, you can then add that integration into a specific package. So we're going to that head office role again. And again, we're going to create a new workflow. So we'll call this SHL onboarding, for example. I'm going to pop in SHL in there. So remember, the title is what the candidate sees. The name is what we see as an internal person. Again, you've got your kind of your application stage and all this kind of stuff. But it's this bit down here at the bottom, which is what you need to kind of trigger to make sure that that integration is going to happen. So we're going to enable it. You can pop in a little intro there. That goes off to your candidate to just kind of explain what the integration is if you want to. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to save those details. And what we're going to do then is we're going to add a new workflow item. So, well, now rather than all your policies, your files, your questionnaires, that kind of thing, when it's a workflow item, you've now got an integration. So this is relating to the instance that we've just created. And these are your instances that are in the system. So we've got SHL onboarding there. Again, we can kind of pop in SHL, pop in a description for your candidate. And we've got our checklist at the bottom. So the checklist is something that we can turn on for you if you don't have it on already. And it doesn't have to be turned on for the integrations, but it is quite handy. So it's just an extra little bit to make your life easier. So you can add it to the checklist. And if you want that integration to go through an approval process, you can choose which user type is going to give that approval as well. So you choose the relevant one. I'm going to save those details. So there we go. We've got our integration happening as a workflow item. It's going to be a manual invite, blah, blah, blah. Do whatever you need. And if we go back into our onboarded users, again, we can see on here that the integration now kind of shows as a separate icon. So we can go into that candidate and we can see our checklist there. So for the people who aren't familiar with the checklist, you'll have, again, sort of a color coded. So if you've got a green tick, it means it's been completed by the candidate. If you've got an orange question mark, I think it is, it means it requires approval. So completed by the candidate, but you might need to do something about it. If you've got the gray clock, that means it's not yet been completed. So obviously we've got kind of the integration is outstanding here for this candidate, but everything else is looking good. And that's about it. So if you do have one that requires approval, you can go in, you can kind of request changes, things like that. We've got kind of a separate video on the checklist side of things. So if you do want some more information on that, let us know. We can kind of send that out to you. But yeah, essentially that is it for the integration. Make sure you kind of create your instance, say how you want it to look, and then include it in your package. And that's about it. There's one final little feature release that we want to kind of talk to you about. I'm going to hand over to Sam just to talk you through that one. So I'll stop sharing. Or do you want me to just bring it up, Sam, for you? Is that easiest?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. There we go. You see that?
So, the long-awaited API portal. So we've created a new way of getting API information from us. So historically, it's been a document that we've passed over, that you passed over to your tech teams. So we've now got this wonderful new portal that gives you all of the information that you need about the APIs. Now we've taken our 5 most used APIs, and they're the first ones that are on there. So this will be a project where we bring all of our existing APIs over to it, and any new APIs we have will be straight in there. So we've got options values, job search, job retrieve, and then retrieve applications and retrieve application, which are 2 different ones. And it gives you all the information about the endpoint. You can test your API call in here. So really, really comprehensive. You know, possibly not something that you guys as a recruiter will use, but I'm sure that your tech guys will be absolutely over the moon with this. And there we go. It's got lots and lots of different options. So really easy to use and really industry standard. Well, I would like to hope better than industry standard, but it's quite common that you have this kind of searchable sort of tool where you can actually see the calls and test the calls and things like that. So we just we've been a little bit behind the curve in the past, but I think this is absolutely stunning and will be absolutely valuable to any tech teams. That's it.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. So flicking to me. So I mentioned at the start, we've got 3 new integration partners. Well, actually 2 new integration partners. Tortola, who is a talent development software, recently integrated with ourselves, working with the NHS. So again, if you're interested in them. JobSwipe, they are a job board, so connected in a way where it's very much app driven. The slight difference here between, I guess, them and a regular job board is their commercial model is based on completed applications. So it's fully integrated with TribePad, and they can tell when a candidate gets through to a completed application. So you're not paying for applications that maybe drop onto the ATS and then don't get completed by the candidate. So again, if you're interested in speaking to them, more than happy to introduce you. And RefNow, they've been a partner of ours for the last 18 months. We've recently moved to some new APIs with them, which has enhanced the integration. So giving you a lot more options in terms of different checks that you want to do with them. So they're 3 new partners. As with every quarterly release, we're always expecting to bring more partners into our integration framework. But if any of those are interested, just please reach out to your account manager. And then just one final, very small feature. a number of you will probably obviously use the ad hoc emails that are built into the ATS itself. So again, if you're maybe got emails in there where you're maybe chasing up a candidate or just dropping out an ad hoc email to a candidate, one of the things that wasn't there historically was the ability to add attachments to those emails. So it often meant that people would then take that communication outside of the platform. We've added that functionality in now, so you can add those attachments to the template. You can then save those templates within the ATS, and then you can send them out to candidates as you wish. So hopefully, very small enhancement, but hopefully something that will be quite useful. And that's it. Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
I did just put it in the chat, but as you asked, Chris, in the past, we had a subscriber to our platform who wanted to be able to inspect the emails and the attachments to those emails for their candidates. At present, what we can see on our ATS is the content of the email and the name of the attachment, but we can't download the attachment and inspect what was sent as an attachment. Is that still the case?
I believe so, but I'm actually frantically testing it as we speak.
Because as a result, that recruiter doesn't want to use the email system within our pathways, within our ATS, because she can't inspect the attachments that she sent. She says it's not auditable. That's my question.
Test it within the candidate profile, was that?
Yes, it's simply a question of, if a recruiter has sent a file to a candidate, can they at a later date inspect that file that they sent and demonstrate to an auditor or to another person what was sent to the candidate? That's all we need to know.
I'm just waiting for it to send the email. So I'm just having a look now, and it does say that the PDFs are attached, but whether or not I can view that PDF, I can't tell you at the moment.
Okay, perhaps Luke can get back to me when you get an answer on that, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke.
No, you can't. Right, it's gone now. No, you can't. Sorry. Yeah, so you can see the name of the file that has been sent, and you would have that would be uploaded against that email anyway, but you can't see it from when I log into the candidate profile.
Okay, thanks for checking that out, Sam.
No problem.
Any other questions?
Short and sweet. No.
Does everyone like the new features? Anything that really appealed to you?
I do very much like the job checking system. We use a version in Broadbean that does just the gender, but all the other stuff looks really beneficial. I hadn't turned on the new version of the job advert because I quite like the old version where you can have sort of a bit of a template in each one of the boxes. So yeah, I'm just not 100% sure about turning on the new version, because we have sort of like, for instance, about the company sort of template sort of built into one section, and then a internal job board blurb built into another section. So I'm just not 100% sure how we do that in the newer version.
Yes, I think. Go on, Sam. Sorry.
I was going to say, so if you're using job templates, then you can always do that and create it using the single description. And there are editing tools in there that let you put things in bold, so you can make your headings stand out and things like that. It does look really quite effective, you know, once it's been edited. But I fully understand that, you know, you've got these established bits, and especially the about the company. It's just that we couldn't do all of the things we wanted to do with this. We couldn't do the different checks and you know, and take 5 boxes and then merge them together for the number of characters and things like that. So, which is why we made that change to single description. But I hope you try it. I mean, even on your UAT, give it a try and see how easy you find it.
Yeah, we've tried it on the UAT, but we might give it another go because I do like the look of the new bit that you've added.
That's really good. That is something that we are so proud of the adder system. Just, you know, it's just those small things that they're just going to make the world of difference, I think, to candidates when they're reading. We've done a lot of research and we've done a lot of reading, and our CEO Tom's been involved. You know, we've been batting around ideas on this for a really long time, looking for the right tools to add in. And it's surprising when you read it just how words are subconsciously off-putting to certain people. So really, really proud of it, and I hope that, you know, everybody at some point will start to use it.
Thanks.
Okay. If no more questions, thank you very much for everyone attending. We'll obviously send out the video afterwards, and it'll also be added to the landing page. So if you want to look back through any of the content or watch back through the video, etc., and see how certain things worked, please feel free to do so. But thank you very much for your time, everyone.
See you in 3 months.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.